Hey there, little mama. You know, Christmas is almost here. And I know that we're all thinking the same thing. The first thing we're thinking is, oh my gosh, Christmas is already here. How can that be? But we're also thinking this year we're going to keep Christ in Christmas. We're going to focus on traditions for our kids. We're not going to spend too much money. We're going to stay within our budget, and we're not going to get overwhelmed with it all. Well, I say that every year. How about you? But this year, Mona the Mom Mentor and Moms Like Us show, we are going to help equip you to do exactly that. And we brought in a special speaker for us today, and that's going to join me on the show. So stick with me, and we will get to it in just a sec. Welcome to the Moms Like Us podcast, where moms just like you learn strategies, systems, and skills through expert interviews and real-life insight designed to take your marriage, mothering, and home to the expert level. Hi, I'm Mona Corwin, your mom mentor and host, author, international speaker, and the founder of the Moms Like Us Academy. I've been coaching moms for over 25 years, and I have some really good news for you. Motherhood isn't a natural talent. It's a skill, and you can learn it. You can crush it at motherhood instead of motherhood crushing you. So let's get to today's show. All righty. What we have happening today is Sarah Rayner is with us. Now, let me just tell you something. This is a good deal. This is a perfect person for our little chat because she is not only a clinical psychologist for children, but she's also has a husband that knows about money. How about that? Now I'm going to put my little glasses on because y'all know I've lost no more contacts. I got to get some more. So here we go. Sarah has her master's degree and a doctorate degrees in clinical psychology, and she specializes in children and adolescents' mental health and development. We're probably going to have to ask her lots of questions, but we're going to stick to Christmas today. Sarah lives in Raleigh, North Carolina with her husband Art and their 3 sons, and she serves in leadership at her church for women's discipleship and enjoys discipling other women. Well, that doesn't surprise me at all because with that kind of a degree, she is going to be so valuable in helping us moms and women learn about Christ and send it off on with our legacy in our children. So I'm going to bring Sarah up out of the green room and ask you to give her a big welcome. Hey there, Sarah.
Hey, Mona. Thanks for having me on today.
Oh, I'm so glad that you're here. I was listening to your podcast, which is Parenting in Pennies, and there's one season, and I highly suggest that my moms go and listen to it. There was some really good tips. You do it with your husband Art, and I really enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it. Did I leave anything out in your bio?
You covered it all. You did a great job.
Okay,
Yes.
great. So what is your passion and why did you decide to go into clinical psychology and major in that area of child development?
Yeah, I originally didn't want to work with kids. I wanted to go and help women who struggle with eating disorders, just from personal experiences with family members and friends. But the Lord just kept putting me in kid internships, kid jobs, kid practicums, and I'd always loved kids. And so it was kind of the Lord putting me in that direction. I actually left my career a few years ago. I left the secular psych world. I'd finally made it to where I wanted, and the Lord's like, hey, Sarah, like that's not where I'm going to have you. And so I left the career, and since then, God has just provided and used the degree in ways I never knew He would or could. Just using it from a biblical worldview and helping families and moms and women that are struggling with their kids and their families. And I'm excited that God has decided to use that degree in a different way than I had originally intended.
And isn't that just the way it goes? I mean,
Yes.
but you left that, so you left your career, and is that when you had your three children?
No, I actually had my three kids. I had one of them in when I was in graduate school and
Oh,
one
wow.
shortly after. Yes, yes. That was a tough season. But yes, and one like right after I had finished. I earned my doctorate in 2013, and that's when my second son was born. So yeah, I was in practice for a while, and now I'm going to start my own practice, but practice from a biblical worldview, and I'm really excited for that.
That is really, really needed. I'm so glad that you're doing that. And today we're going to glean from your wisdom, and we're going to be focusing on kids and cash and Christ and Christmas,
Yes, I love
because
all that.
we want to, as moms that are moms like us, we want to keep Christ and Christmas, and we want to honor him with our money, and we want to direct our kids in a way that does that. So let me ask you this. What what is, from a child's perspective, when you're talking about cash and money for Christmas, like, what are your suggestions for budgeting for them and helping them keep Christ in Christmas? Oh, that's kind of a double one. Pick one part of that.
Yeah, so Mona, our as believers in Christ, when we're shepherding our kids, we have there's a little nuance, but it really changes how we view our kids and family. And that's our family is our first mission field. They are our ministry, but they are certainly not our mission. Christ is the mission, and we're going to point our kids towards Christ. And that even means with our money, with how we spend our money, with our traditions, and with Christmas. So if we make our kids our mission, it becomes all focused on them. Our traditions, our buying habits, everything is focused on our kids versus on Christ. And so
Wow.
there's that little nuance that we have to make sure we have. And so when we think of Christmas, the reason to celebrate, we give gifts. That's the fun part. Kids love opening gifts on Christmas morning. But we do that to point them to the fact that Christ gave us the best gift, which is Him. And so, how we do that can flesh out a little bit differently with your family. But I'll give you a few tips for how we do it in the Rayner household.
Great.
One, we do make church a priority all year, but also at Christmas. And that can also be a tradition if you go to the Christmas Eve service. That's one way to keep Christ in Christmas and to teach kids the real meaning of Christmas. The other one is to, read the Christmas story on Christmas morning, even before you open gifts or throughout the day, read about it. You can do an Advent calendar as well. And then we actually have a book. I love this book. It's actually by B&H Publishing with Lifeway. It's called Donkey in the Living Room,
Hmm?
and it actually takes you through the nativity scene 10 days prior to Christmas, walking through each animal in the nativity scene and kind of what it points to. So those are just a few little traditions that we have that just point kids towards the real meaning of Christmas.
Now I know that a lot of moms, they're going to want to, like, go to all the things. They're going to want to go to the ice thing. They're going to want to all the Christmas stuff. And it can, just those traditions alone can really add up. Do you have
Yeah.
any budget saving traditions that, maybe it's not something really, really huge, but what would you suggest in budget saving traditions for our moms?
Yes. So the pitfall with traditions that I think people can get into is they do a massive amount of things that have very little impact. And so you can spend a whole lot of time decorating, cutting out party favors, doing all this stuff, but your kids don't really remember that. And so I say go for something small that has a huge impact, something that your kid is going to remember. And so that could be an experience. It doesn't have to be an expensive experience. It could be like taking canned goods to your local shelter. That is a tradition that it doesn't require a lot of money. And then also, when we think of traditions, I think of it in three ways: which traditions impact my family, which traditions impact others, and which traditions impact me, and how can I do those on a budget on a budget. So here are just some things that I find helpful for our family that I would suggest. One is you can have your kids buy gifts for their siblings. It doesn't have to be expensive. You can take them to the Dollar Tree, but your kids are going to remember that. They're going to remember buying something for their sibling, getting something from their sibling, just the thoughtfulness of that, that you're making your child think of somebody else. That could be a tradition. Um, and like I said, reading Luke, the Advent calendar, those are things that are on a budget. Those are traditions. Something for yourself that still is in the Christ mission is kids are a blessing. And so you can have your kids make holiday crafts that you get to keep and remember and look back on.
That's
And
a
you can
great one.
Yes. And then one of our favorite things to do, it's hilarious. It's really for Art and me, but the kids love it. We actually take the kids to shop for the spouse. So my kids, I'll take them to like shop for Art. They get to spend a little bit of their own money. But one year I got gold platinum high heels, bright red lips, like pink lipstick, and like huge earrings. And my kids, I was like, this looks like, I mean, it looked like a stripper. Like, but
Are you sure Art didn't buy those?
I'm pretty sure I didn't. But my kids generally, they're three boys. There's no other girls. They really thought mom's gonna like this. Oh, and I got a little flashlight that was a Star Wars flashlight.
There we go.
Yes, but they're gonna remember those moments, and I'm gonna remember those moments. And again, it's all on a budget. And then, most importantly, how do we cultivate generosity in our kids on a budget? Because kids don't have a lot of money, and we may not have a ton of money. And that's how do we create traditions that help point our kids to others and focus on others? Because again, Christ is the mission, my kids are not. And so you can do things like Operation Christmas Child or the Send Relief
Mhm.
category catalog. My one son loves buying fish for people in the Send Relief catalog, and it's $3.
Now
He
tell me
loves
what the catalog was again.
So it's through the North American Mission Board, and it's called Send Relief. And they have this gift catalog where you can buy like a pig or a lamb or a
That's
horse or
the one.
something.
I was trying to think of
Yes,
that yesterday. And I'm like, what's that
yes,
catalog where you can send a cow?
yes. But you can send. Like I said, my one son loves to buy fish, and it's $3. And so we talk about the impact he's making on a family across the world just for $3. And then also, even outside of money, you can volunteer your time as part of a tradition to help others. You can bake cookies for neighbors. You can pray for others. And then, one really important caveat for the holidays, if you're having people in your home, teach your kids it's about hospitality and not about entertainment. And those
Mhm.
entertainment focuses on you and hospitality focuses on others. So you can welcome the less fortunate or family or friends into your home and be hospitable in the name of Christ.
I love that. That is really a good point because, I mean, we can do that all year long, right? Teach our
Yes,
kids how to be hospitable. And it also takes the emphasis over off because so many times when do their kids have their friends over? On their birthday,
hmm
right? And then
yes,
it's all about me, bring me presents.
yes,
Grandma and
yes,
grandpa come, grandma and grandpa bring presents,
yep,
like focusing on what it is to be hospitable. I think
yes,
that is really, really good because it really does teach. And of course, then you just automatically do what we do because we do Deuteronomy. We teach when we're walking, when we're sitting,
yes,
when we're going here and there. And we say, hey, this is what Jesus did. Remember
yes,
the story about Jesus cooking for the disciples
yes,
on the shore. He was making them breakfast. And
yep,
when you do this, you're being like Jesus.
absolutely.
Yeah. I wonder who cleaned up after Jesus on that one. I wonder who did the dishes. You know they didn't have paper plates, Sarah.
No, they're eating with their hands. I'm sure
Yeah.
they smelled wonderful after eating, I'm sure.
Well, yeah. And then they just went in and washed their hands in the sea, and then they were
Yeah.
done with that.
Yep.
Sarah, there was I'm going to shift just a little bit to the
Mhm.
cash part of this. Have you any suggestions or have you done anything with your kids to where they have their own Christmas cash and they're passing it out? I know in one of your podcasts you talked, I think it was the last one, that I just listened to because they're all really good.
Thank
Um,
you.
the one about
The green light card, yes.
green light, yeah, green light or green life.
No, green light.
Green light. That's what I thought. And I think green life would be, well, I can't go back and give them my advice. But because of, I know what it does, it really does bring life to your
Yeah.
giving and your using of the thing. Have you used that this year with your kids for Christmas?
We haven't used it for Christmas this year yet, just because we have not started Christmas shopping, but we do use that throughout the year, and that is what they will use for their Christmas shopping. They have their own card that has savings, spending, and giving on it. And so, yes, when they go shop for their brother this year, or at birthday parties, they use their green light accounts.
You want to
So, for
tell the moms about that? Tell them
yeah,
briefly about it.
absolutely. Greenlight is it's great. I would say, and they can go back to listen to that podcast
Hmm.
episode. It's the last one. It gives all the breakdown. But it is a debit card. It has a very small monthly fee for the parent. I think it's like $7 or something, but you have a debit card for your child that you're in complete control of, and you can put money on it. So our kids earn money through chores, and we put it on there, and we can divide it up into how much goes into giving, how much goes into saving, how much goes into living, and there's actually even an investment portion where we've put money, and our kids have bought stock through that. And so it's great because if they lose it, they don't lose all their cash. And you can cancel out the card, and so it's wonderful. And they like it because they can swipe it, and then we show them the receipt and go over like the sales tax, how much it was there a discount, and so then they can see. And I like it more for older kids because older kids, developmentally, their concept of money is more um, it's more set in the foundation than little kids who are just now learning. So for our youngest, it's still a little hard. He's just 6. He's still learning what money is. So having real money in front of him is more helpful. But I do like the green light accounts for like 8, 9 years old and older. I think it's great.
Yeah, and there actually is a fee for that for you moms that are wondering if it's free. It is not a free app, but I mean, people have got to make money, and this is a really great idea. So, how long have you been using it now?
Ooh, a few years.
Oh, so you
Yeah.
really like it.
Yeah, we've had it, I would say, at least a couple years. Um, yes, again, it's not the best for James because that's our 6-year-old because he's still learning for money. But for our middle son and our older son, I do. And I see more and more of the benefits as the kids get older and they go out with their friends because they can pay with their debit card.
Yeah. Wow, you've given us some really great stuff to just ponder on and implement into our Christmas season. If you had one thing to say to moms about Christmas in general, what would it be before we close you out and you go off into your land of James and all the boys? Let me see. It's James. James. Oh, I forget now.
Joshua and Nathaniel.
Nathaniel. I'm like, I knew they were all Bible people,
Yes, yes, they
right?
are.
Of
Yes, they
course.
are.
Of course. So what would you say to the moms to really focus on and to make their Christmas the best this year?
Yeah. So when I first say it, it's going to sound a little harsh, but let me tell you what I mean by that. And I think of just John the Baptist's words of, he must increase, but I must decrease. And I
Mm,
know that sounds weird because as a mom, you're on, but I do think of everybody else. But as a mom, we often worry, am I doing it right? Have I messed up the kids? Do I have enough tradition? Me, and then we become self-focused in a negative way, and that's not good either. And so that's still being self-focused when we carry around guilt or shame. And so really, um, God wants us to focus on Him, not just during Christmas, but all year. And that actually is for our good because it takes away the shame and guilt and takes pressure off ourselves. So spend this time not trying to get it perfect, but just pointing your kids to Christ and then trusting God with the rest. So think more of Christ and less of yourself.
wow, that's really good. That wasn't harsh at all.
Okay. Well, you put me on the spot. I was like, oh, one piece of advice. That's hard to narrow it down to. Mona, you should have told me ahead of time.
Nope,
I'm
that's the
good.
one I always get because I never tell anybody. Well, eventually everybody will go, "Oh, she always asks this at the end." But what I really want the spirit to just tell you and the passion, and it really does come out in a beautiful way, and that really was a beautiful way to encourage our moms. That I did really like that when you said carrying around guilt and shame is self focused. Wow. We do not want to do that. We absolutely do not want to do that. We want to keep our focus on Christ and learn to live in a way that glorifies Him. Thank you so much for being with me today. You're just absolutely precious, and I wish you the best in your new endeavor as you go forward into your practice. And we are okay if you come back with more pennies and parenting.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for having me. I've had just such a joy talking to you. It's been a joy. So thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much. Okay, little mamas. Hey, little mamas. That wasn't that good. Now, if you didn't take notes when she was writing it down because you were doing whatever you're doing, go back and listen and write, just jot down those pieces of advice that Sarah has given us. I want you to be able to really focus this year on Christ and Christmas. And I don't want you to ignore the fact that you have lots of other things to do. But the only way it's going to happen is if you ask the Lord to help you, really. These podcasts are great. Sarah's suggestions are fabulous. But you're going to have to ask the Lord to help you because we live in a culture that is kind of, loud in our faces. And we need to be able to hear that still small voice. So I hope that one of the things that you will do is you will spend time in God's Word. And there's lots of ways to do that. And if you need some suggestions, I want you to go ahead and DM me or send me an email, and we will answer you with resources. And that's it for this episode. Because moms like us, we do things like this. We pay attention to our cash, our kids, keeping Christ in our Christmas. And that's what we do. And when we do it, we want you to be here the next time we're all together. Bye for now.